It's always a treat for me when I get to present a legacy brand on our show. And today we've got one of the best and brightest and most legendary brands, Kicker. They're coming on today, and we've got some new product to cover, including some anniversary subwoofers, enclosures, and much more. We've got their Tech Force team, both Aaron and Jacob, with us, and we're going to get all the details on the latest and greatest gear from Kicker. This is CMA Networks, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Kicker. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another presentation here on CMA Networks, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and as promised, we are digging into one of those legendary brands, and that brand is, in fact, Kicker. Now, we've got both Aaron as well as Jacob that will join us from Tech Force today in the studio, and we're going to go over some cool products that you dealers want to know about. I guess I'll start with Aaron. Aaron, can you give us a quick overview of exactly what we'll be covering on today's show?
We got a bunch of new stuff to talk about. The new Solo X Square subwoofer, the Competition Gold 50th anniversary, some new Street Series mids and highs, the down-firing powered TRTP subwoofer enclosure, and of course, key amplifier technology.
Nothing makes me happier than when I see an entire table full of brand new gear that we're going to get into. But first, an opportunity for our good sponsor, SiriusXM, to remind you dealers out there why you love it. And when we come back, it's all about Kicker.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to dive right in. We've got Aaron and Jacob in the studio. Now, guys, lots to talk about, but I think the things that are staring at me in the face, we got to get into first, and that's going to be two brand new subwoofers to talk about. Let's get into that.
Ben, you've been around the industry a long time, and you can remember the original Solo X subwoofer. Well, meet the new and improved Solo X subwoofer. We've taken more than 50 years of technology and compacted into this one massive 2,000 watt 12-inch subwoofer. So this is the hot setup from Kicker for this year. In addition, we have some heritage product. We're calling it the Competition Gold series, and it goes back to the 1980s when we got into the separate component subwoofer market. So this is a throwback in terms of the way it looks, but of course the technology is all current today.
Wow, I don't even know which one to start with because they both look delicious, but let's start with the legendary square subwoofer that you see here. Yes, I totally remember when Kicker launched these. It was revolutionary at the time. So I'm curious, as well as other dealers, what changes have you made or what upgrades and improvements have been done to the brand new Solo X?
Yeah, Ben, so some of the most obvious improvements about the subwoofer is that the cone material is going to be a little bit different. On this subwoofer, we use a paper pulp cone. We've also got a dual spider and forced air cooling on the back side. The forced air cooling allows it to run much cooler and allows you to use a lot more power on it for a much longer period of time. In addition, we've also got some different type of wired connections. We've got push terminals and set screws, so you can get that wire directly to the subwoofer and make sure that all your power is getting piped directly into the voice coil.
Absolutely stunning new version of this legendary subwoofer. But Aaron, I can't help but notice that you picked up, is that just for demo, or what is the purpose of that piece that you have in front of you?
So Ben, our team of engineers came up with an easy way to re-cone a subwoofer in the field. Let's say you're running a 6K on a 2,000 watt RMS woofer. There's a possibility you might need to replace the voice coil and the cone assembly in the competition lanes. We've made it very simple. You've got 8 screws on the front, 8 more in the back. Take out those 16 screws, you simply slide out the old cone assembly, slide in the new assembly, put the screws back in about 5 minutes, you've got a whole new subwoofer. This is great technology because you don't have to use any glue. So there's no setting of glue, there's no waiting time. You simply put it in and you can power it up again. With a 2,000 watt subwoofer, The reality is this thing will handle 2,000 watts all day, 4 days straight, the way we test them in the real world. But if for some reason you had to replace a cone, you can do that in the field.
I gotta say, Aaron, very impressive that the engineering team at Kicker has come up and innovated with such a system to be able to field service a 2,000 watt subwoofer. Think about that for a second, guys. All right, moving on. My eyes have also been very peeled on that woofer on the left. It's bringing me back my teenage goosebumps when I see that old school retro logo. You're calling it the 50th anniversary gold. Aaron, give us all the details.
This is our 50th year in business. Back in the mid-'80s, we introduced the original competition series subwoofers. Well, here we are 50 years later with a lot of improved technology. So a couple of the updates, of course, now we're using a high-roll Santoprene surround, which gives us great long-time excursion, great bass response for a long-life subwoofer. In addition, we have this stippled cone, which looks like the original, but it is actually a polypropylene updated cone. In addition, we're using a pushpin style terminal, gold-plated terminals for excellent transmission of that musical power into the subwoofer, and of course, our forced air cooling technology. Forced air cooling is used in the Solo X woofer, and the whole purpose of that is to make the subwoofer run longer with the same amount of power. So yes, it'll handle a ton of power, but it'll do it for a long period of time. Loud is easy, but loud and good, that's the hard part. And this subwoofer plays loud, and it sounds really good doing it.
So guys, one of the hottest categories, and you dealers know this, is enclosures. People are looking for bass. It's one of the first things that people are looking for. But the challenges of today's market is space. Nobody wants to give up their entire trunk to put subwoofers in. So what solutions has Kicker come up with to be able to accommodate space, yet still have that output that people are looking for?
Here at Kicker, we came up with the solution for those low space and maybe low profile applications. This is our powered down-firing subwoofer enclosure, the PTRTP. It's got a nice black carpet on the enclosure and a Kicker embroidered logo on the front side, so you know that this is a Kicker enclosure when you put it in your car. If you want to be stealthy, you can turn it around and hide that logo. Now, what makes this enclosure special is the subwoofer and the passive radiator on the underside. If you're not familiar with what a passive radiator does, it gives that enclosure a tuned frequency, almost like a ported box. So you're going to get more output from it and also lower bass response. The box is incredibly sturdy, and we designed it so that you can stack things on top of it like groceries or golf clubs, and it's not going to cause any damage to that box. The biggest benefit about this enclosure is the amplifier built into the side. So I'll let Aaron give you some details about that amplifier.
I've had one of the original TRTPs in my vehicle for quite a few years now. And what I love about this new model is it has an amplifier built into it. So that takes all the guesswork out of matching an amplifier to the enclosure. The 12-inch version comes with a 500-watt RMS amplifier, and the 10-inch version comes with a 400-watt RMS amplifier. And the amplifier is a real amplifier. It is completely matched to the subwoofer, as well as tuned properly for the enclosure. So you're getting a perfect solution every time. In addition, it has a quick disconnect. So if I need to take this out of my car or my pickup truck, I can simply disconnect it, and there's no bare wires to touch to cause a short. So it's very easy to remove it if I do need that extra space. It also includes the remote bass level controller. This allows me to adjust the bass up or down, depending on who's in the car and what music I'm listening to. And this is included in the packaging, so it's a very easy, simple solution for the customer. This is a fantastic bass performance package. It fits in SUVs, cars, pickup trucks, virtually anything where you want great kicker bass. And as Jacob pointed out, because it's down firing, you can put stuff on top of it. In addition, if you don't want the bad guys to see that you got a kicker subwoofer, you just turn it around and you can hide the fact that it's there. Jacob, this is one of my favorite products, and I'm so excited to introduce it this year.
So moving on to our next category that we'll be covering today is some speakers. Now, I've been looking at that since the beginning of the show, and I noticed there's these like baby versions of the Solo X in the back, and I'm thinking to myself, are those new smaller size subwoofers? But then I'm starting to think, wait a minute, those look more like speakers. What's the deal on those square speakers that you have in front of you?
Ben, these are the new ST series drivers. So these are pro audio style drivers designed for high efficiency and high output. Because we came out with the Solo X, we need something to cut through all that bass so you can actually hear your front stage. So we've got these square PA style mid-ranges, and the reason that they're square is so that you can take advantage of the increased cone area and make that sound louder. And then we have some compression tweeters that sound really loud as well, but they also sound really good. And I'll let Aaron give you some details about both these products.
Like Jacob said, loud is easy, but sounding good and loud, that's the hard part. So Mr. Steve Irby and the team of engineers designed these speakers to keep up with the massive bass of the Solo X, but to give you clear music at super high volumes. Talking about tweeters, there's two sizes, a 1-inch and a 1.5-inch tweeter. And these are bullet style tweeters, and they're also field serviceable. So if for some reason you needed to replace the diaphragm and the voice coil in these, you can do that quite simply by removing the back plate, putting in a new assembly, and putting it back together. Again, no adhesives required. So just like the Solo X, you can field service these. Now the output on these is stunning. The 1.5-inch, this one right here, has a 1 watt, 1 meter rating of 109 dB. What that means is, if you put that tweeter 3 foot from your head with 1 watt of power, it'll play 109 decibels. That's incredible. The mid-ranges, of course, are designed to keep up with the tweeters. We've got a square 7-inch and a square 9-inch, depending on how much space you've got to work with. These are also extremely high output, and a pair of these is designed to work with a single tweeter. Now, let's say you've got a single tweeter and a single mid-range. We include in the packaging a resistor and a capacitor. The resistor is a pad-down resistor, which simply means it reduces the output of this tweeter to better match a single mid-range. But if you're using 2 mid-ranges, you don't need the resistor. In addition, the capacitor acts as a high-pass filter for the tweeter. We want to protect the tweeter from really low frequencies, so the capacitor, which is included, does that for you. So, like Jacob said, if you've got fantastic sub-bass from the Solo X's, these are the mid-ranges to keep up with them.
All right, last but not least, we have to address a growing concern and a need really in our industry. And that is, you know, there are systems out there which are complicated, but they don't have to be when it comes to integrating and improving sound in many vehicles that come into your shop. Not every customer wants to hear the extensive tuning that needs to be done to make their car sound good. So, having said that, what solutions has Kicker come up with to help with this situation?
Ben, as you pointed out, there's a lot of complexity with integrating aftermarket equipment into factory installed systems. And key technology has been developed over the years to address that very challenge. There's a complete line of products in the key technology. We've got a key LOC processor, a key 4-channel full range amplifier, and a key 500 watt subwoofer amplifier. And I want Jacob to talk to us a little bit more about what the key LOC does.
So the key LOC is really an incredible piece. The thing that makes it most incredible, in my opinion, is the fact that it tunes itself. So all you have to do is run some test tones through your radio and push the button a couple times on the key lock itself, and your setup is done in less than 10 minutes. So you're probably asking, what does the setup actually do for us? So a lot of these new vehicles have things like all-pass filters on the front channel, which can affect your tuning if you're using any other type of DSP. It also affects how it sounds. A lot of new vehicles also have EQ curves that won't sound that great on aftermarket speakers. The key lock rectifies all of those issues. It's a 2-channel LOC that has a DSP built in, and it also corrects for these all-pass filters between the left and right channels. It corrects the EQ and gives you a perfectly flat frequency response, and it also level matches the left and the right sides. It's a really incredible little piece. And if you have a smart radio like an older Chrysler's, it shows a 60 ohm load on the inputs to keep those smart radios playing and prevent your audio from cutting out. It's got a ton of benefits. And if you want to keep your all-pass filters, you have the ability to go into the menu and enable or defeat those all-pass filters. So next I'll let Aaron talk a little bit about the amplifiers that we have as well.
There are 2 amplifiers in the key technology lineup. The 200.4 is a 4-channel amplifier, and it's designed to run the front and rear speakers in your factory system or aftermarket system. In addition, it can be done in what's called bi-amp mode, where 2 of the channels power your dash speakers and 2 of the channels power your door speakers. In bi-amp mode, you can get some incredible staging and imaging, because not only does the amplifier provide high-pass and low-pass filters on board, it also has re-equalization. With the supplied microphone, it'll actually listen to the factory installed speakers and re-equalize them to make them sound almost as good as aftermarket speakers. And the customer will be blown away. Now, step 2 is to upgrade those factory installed speakers and add in aftermarket speakers. You then retune the system for those new speakers to make it sound even that much more incredible. In addition, it has a demonstration mode, so you can actually A and B demo the customer so they can hear where their money went and they'll be blown away. In addition, the 500.1 is the subwoofer amplifier. This guy will produce 500 watts into 1 ohm load, 300 watts into 2 ohm, or 150 watts into a 4 ohm load. The reason I tell you all those ohm loads to match up to subwoofer enclosures is because this will work with up to 14 different kicker loaded enclosures. That means no matter what kind of vehicle they have, you simply choose the kicker loaded enclosure that fits and add in this amplifier. Now, because this amplifier is part of the Key technology package, it also has Key technology built in. It will analyze the incoming stock audio signal and re-equalize it to give you proper bass response. If you've got the kind of radio that limits the bass as you turn up the volume, this amplifier will fix that. So it corrects for bass roll-off. In addition, if there's a high-pass filter or a subsonic filter for the factory-installed subwoofer, this will also fix that. If you're adding a 15-inch subwoofer, you want to get 15-inch bass, and this amplifier will make sure that happens. So the Key technology family is designed to make OE integration simple and sound great.
And that, of course, was AARON Malin and Jacob Lucky, part of the Tech Force team, the training team from Kicker, giving us all the goods and details about some great new Kicker product. Now, if you're interested in getting more information on any of the products we covered on today's show, I encourage you to check out their official website located at kicker.com. And of course, if you happen to be a Canadian dealer, you already know that Gemsen is the official and exclusive distributor for all things Kicker in Canada. Now, on that note, of course, I had to reach out to Dave Singh from Gemsen and kind of pick his brain on a couple of the items that were covered today. Now, Dave, so many different things that were covered today, but I think there's a real buzz when it comes to the Solo X, not only the subwoofers, but also the ST speakers that match those square subwoofers as well. And why do you think dealers need to pay close attention to this new development of product from Kicker?
Well, Ben, like you said, there's been a lot of buzz on the internet. I'm seeing countless videos on Facebook, YouTube, on the Solo X as well as the ST series. And you know, the reason why I believe these speakers are getting the amount of buzz that they are is because Kicker's done a really well job developing this, and they're really catering to, you know, this new popular segment in the industry, which is, you know, some people would call SQL, where people are looking for SPL, like high volume, you know, very loud systems, but they're also looking for sound quality to go with it. And you know that the Solo X, when it first was introduced, I think it was like a year and a half ago or so, you know, it took quite some time for that woofer to come out to the market. And it's because Kicker did a really good job thinking this product through, and they didn't rush it. Things like the field replaceable cone assemblies. I mean, yes, we don't want speakers to blow up, and we're not saying, you know, that we expect that guys will, but let's be honest, when you're in that league of the industry, you know, and you're listening to high SPL and you're a lot of power, you know, chances are something could go wrong and you're going to break a woofer. We want, you know, and Kicker wants all the customers that own these woofers to be able to get them up and going really quickly, especially if you're in the competition lanes. On the ST series, you know, it just made sense that they needed to develop something to keep up with the Solo X. And I think they've done a great job creating these high efficiency drivers with replaceable diaphragms on the tweeters for the same reason, you know, people sometimes can be abusive, and, you know, it's important to get, you know, people up and running really quickly and minimal out-of-pocket expenses should they make a mistake playing this product. So we're really excited about this product. Guys have nothing but great things to say about the Solo X, and Kicker really outdone themselves creating the latest in the legendary series of Solo X. And quite honestly, I think it's one of the most unbeatable SQL woofers in the industry.
Now, no question, Dave, I think Kicker did a phenomenal job presenting some key products today. You see that? Key products. But on the real note, why do you feel that dealers in Canada, and if they're not already, because there are some great dealers for Kicker in Canada, but if they're not, give us some reasons why they should definitely take a closer look at the Kicker line overall for their store?
Well, Ben, as you mentioned, you know, Kicker's a great brand. And yeah, we have a great, strong dealer base here in Canada. And we're still growing that dealer base because more and more dealers are recognizing that Kicker is an industry or a legacy brand that has a lot of recognition throughout the industry. And, we've mentioned many times, Kicker's been around for a long time. The company started 50 years ago, but Kicker itself has been around for about 40 plus. That means they've got a lot of time invested in engineering, research, that puts them at huge advantages over some of the brands that are, new and upcoming brands. One of the things that we love about Kicker here in Canada and all their dealers benefit from is obviously the product. They have a wide selection of product to cater to every category, every budget. So if you're just doing a simple speaker replacement in your doors, they got that. If you want to do an amplifier update with some DSP, they have that solution. If you're looking for big power and big woofers like the Solo X or the Quad L7 enclosure, that's an option as well as power sports, motorcycle audio. There's countless opportunities for dealers to make money in one of the most recognized brands in the industry. The other things that dealers really need to pay attention to is service. The Kicker service policy and warranty policy is outstanding. We never let anybody hang out to dry, so to speak. So that's very important. And aside from that, the people at Kicker, I'm sure guys that have noticed watching these sessions previously, they're just great guys. They're easy to get along with. They listen to dealers. They're looking for input. They're listening to their feedback, and they're putting that information into the field and developing new products. So they really are in tune with what dealers and consumers are demanding in today's industry and coming up with really cool, unique products to cater to that. So it's super important for guys to pay attention to Kicker. And if you're not a dealer, reach out to us and we'd love to talk to you.
Well, there you heard it from Dave Singh from Gemsen. A couple of reasons why you should definitely take a closer look at Kicker for your shop. Now, as I reflect on today's show, Kicker has always been one of those go-to brands for many years. It's part of the original five. It's a legacy brand. I love the fact that they're paying tribute to their 50-year anniversary with those competition Kicker gold subs. Totally throws me back, gives me the goosies like back when I was a teenager. That old school logo does it for me. But that Solo X is just such a beast. And if you have customers looking for ultimate output, I mean, you're not doing them a service by not showing them that subwoofer. And especially the fact that the engineering team has found a way to make those field serviceable. I got nothing but flowers for that. That's crazy. On top of that, I think the Key Technologies obviously offers a turnkey solution to any OEM integration scenario you may face. And of course, getting into pro audio, because that's kind of the deal now. If you're going to put in the Solo X subs, you're going to need speakers to match. And those ST series speakers are going to do the trick. That's it for this CMA Networks production brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.